Myra walked carefully through the glowing forest of Aurelia. The trees had soft, blue leaves that shimmered like tiny lanterns, and the ground beneath her boots sparkled faintly with minerals that glowed under the twin moons. She loved exploring this new planet more than anything else. Every day, she found something unusual: a plant that sang when touched, a crystal that seemed to hum softly, or streams that reflected colors no human eyes had ever seen before. Today, Myra was on her own, following a narrow trail that twisted between thick trees. She carried her small backpack, filled with tools, notebooks, and a scanner that could detect energy levels in the environment. She had heard rumors from other explorers about an unusual fountain hidden somewhere in this part of the forest, but no one had ever seen it. The thought of discovering something new made her heart beat faster. As she walked, she noticed a faint glow ahead. It was subtle, soft, and pulsing in a steady rhythm, like it had a heartbeat of its own. Myra's curiosity pulled her forward. When she reached a clearing, her breath caught in surprise. In the center of the clearing was a fountain unlike anything she had ever seen. The water did not flow like ordinary water; instead, it hovered slightly above the stone basin, swirling in slow, graceful patterns. Tiny lights danced inside the liquid, changing colors from soft pink to bright turquoise. The air around it felt warmer, almost alive, and Myra sensed a strange energy that made her chest feel light and her thoughts sharper. "Wow," Myra whispered. She knelt beside the fountain and held out her hand. The water seemed to respond. Tiny ripples formed, moving toward her fingers as if inviting her to touch. She laughed softly, a sound of pure delight, and touched the water. Instantly, a warm sensation spread through her body, and the lights in the fountain intensified, sparkling like stars. Myra jumped back, startled but amazed. This is incredible," she said. She quickly took out her scanner and began recording. The readings were off the charts, energy levels far higher than anything she had ever measured on Aurelia. Her mind raced with questions. What created this fountain? Why did it react to her touch? Before she could think further, she heard a soft voice behind her. "You found it?" Myra spun around. A young man stood at the edge of the clearing, smiling. His boots made no sound on the glowing soil. "I'm Talon," he said, stepping closer. "I've been looking for this fountain too. Most people don't believe it exists." I didn't think anyone else would come here," Myra admitted, still staring at the fountain. "It's beautiful. And it feels alive." Talon nodded, crouching beside her. "I know. I felt it the moment I stepped into this clearing. It's not just water. There's something more here. Something powerful." Myra smiled. She liked Talon's calm confidence. "Do you want to see something?" she asked. She touched the water again, and the fountain glowed even brighter. Tiny, intricate patterns formed inside it, like shapes of leaves and stars, moving in harmony. Talon leaned closer, watching in awe. "This is amazing," he said softly. "It reacts to us. To our emotions, maybe." Myra nodded. "I think so. When I was curious or excited, it lit up. When I laughed, the patterns changed. It's like it can feel what we feel." For a long moment, they just sat there, watching the fountain together. Myra felt a connection not only to the water but to Talon as well. There was something special about discovering something together, something no one else had seen. Suddenly, the fountain pulsed more brightly than ever before. A circular wave of light shot upward, and the air around it shimmered. Myra and Talon instinctively held hands, feeling the warmth of the energy flow through them. The fountain's water formed shapes that looked like maps or constellations, pointing deeper into the forest. Myra's eyes widened. It's showing us something. A path? Or a secret? Talon smiled, his eyes sparkling. Looks like our adventure is just beginning. Myra felt a thrill of excitement. She had always dreamed of discovering something no human had ever seen, and now it was happening. But more than that, she realized that this discovery wasn't just about the fountain, it was about sharing it, understanding it, and exploring it together with someone who cared as much as she did. For hours, they studied the fountain, making notes and sketches. The light shifted in ways that seemed to respond to their emotions: hope, curiosity, even laughter. Every moment felt magical, like the fountain was alive and communicating in a language only humans could feel, not hear. As the twin moons rose higher in the sky, Myra and Talon finally stood up. They looked at each other, their eyes bright with excitement. Tomorrow, Myra said, we follow where it leads. Talon nodded. Yes. Together. And with that promise, they turned back toward their camp, hearts racing, minds buzzing, and the memory of the glowing fountain burning brightly in their minds. They had discovered more than a fountain, they had discovered a beginning. The next morning, Myra woke to the soft glow of Aurelia's twin suns filtering through the leaves of their camp. She stretched and glanced at Talon, who was already packing their tools. Today, they planned to explore the fountain more deeply, to understand its strange energy. Myra's heart beat faster with excitement. She felt as though she was about to step into something extraordinary. Ready? Talon asked, a playful grin on his face. Absolutely, Myra said. Let's see what this fountain can really do. They made their way back to the hidden clearing, carefully stepping over roots and glowing moss. The forest seemed calmer in the morning light, as if it, too, waited to see what they would do. When they arrived, the fountain shimmered with soft colors, pulsing gently as though it remembered their presence from the night before. Myra knelt beside the water and ran her fingers over the surface. The fountain responded immediately, sending ripples that formed tiny, sparkling patterns. Talon crouched next to her, holding a small crystal in his hand. I wonder if it responds to objects too, he said. He dipped the crystal into the water. The crystal began to glow, brighter than anything Myra had seen before, and faint musical notes seemed to resonate from the fountain. It's like it's alive, Myra whispered, amazed. It reacts to our feelings, and now, maybe to what we touch. For hours, they experimented. Myra laughed and clapped her hands, and the water responded with playful bursts of color. Talon concentrated on the crystal, imagining a light in his mind, and the fountain's water formed geometric shapes, floating above the basin. Every action, every emotion, seemed to make the fountain respond in ways they could barely predict. This is incredible, Myra said, sketching the patterns in her notebook. No human has ever seen this before. It's like it wants us to explore it. Talon nodded, his eyes focused on the dancing water. I think it's more than just water. It's like a mirror of our feelings. When we're happy, curious, or excited, it grows brighter and more creative. I wonder what would happen if more people came and shared their emotions with it. Myra smiled, imagining the possibilities. If it can respond to 2 people, maybe it could respond to a whole group. Imagine a colony filled with this energy. Just then, a small ripple formed at the edge of the fountain, moving like a tiny wave toward the center. Myra leaned closer. Look. It's forming a pattern like a map. Talon's eyes widened. A map? Where do you think it leads? I don't know, Myra admitted. But it looks deliberate. Like it wants us to follow it. They studied the glowing pattern carefully. The shapes shifted slowly, forming lines that pointed toward the forest. The path was subtle, almost hidden, but they could feel its energy pulling them forward. Shall we see where it leads? Talon asked. Myra nodded, her excitement bubbling. Yes. But first, we should take notes and collect some energy readings. If the fountain responds to us, we need to understand it before we explore. They spent the next hour carefully documenting the fountain's reactions. Myra measured the energy levels, while Talon observed how their emotions affected the patterns. Each test revealed something new. Joy made the colors brighter, focus created complex shapes, and calmness made the water glow softly in soothing waves. Finally, they stood back and looked at each other. We're ready, Myra said, feeling a thrill of anticipation. Let's follow the path. The forest seemed to open before them as they moved deeper into the woods, guided by the fountain's subtle energy. Birds with translucent wings flitted overhead, and flowers glowed softly along their path. The air felt warmer, filled with a quiet hum that seemed to resonate with their own excitement. As they walked, Myra realized how much she trusted Talon. Each time the path became difficult, he found a clever way around obstacles. Each time she hesitated, he encouraged her. They shared small smiles and laughter, and the fountain's energy seemed to grow stronger, even though they were now far from the clearing. Eventually, they reached a narrow gorge, where water flowed in thin, sparkling streams from the cliffs above. Myra's eyes widened. The fountain, it's leading us to more water. Maybe even more fountains. Talon grinned. Looks like the adventure is only getting bigger. Imagine what we'll discover next. Myra nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. She felt a deep sense of connection not only to the fountain but to the planet itself, and to Talon. For the first time, she realized that exploration was not just about discovering new things, but about sharing the discovery with someone who understood the wonder. As they continued toward the glowing streams, Myra reached out and touched Talon's arm. Together, she said softly. Together, he replied. And with that, they stepped forward into the unknown, ready to uncover the secrets that the fountains of Aurelia held, and to experience a bond that grew stronger with every moment of discovery. Myra and Talon moved carefully through the dense forest, following the subtle glow that the fountain had left behind. The energy in the air seemed to guide them, tugging gently at their senses as if whispering, "This way." Every step they took felt lighter, and their excitement grew with each passing moment. The path led them over soft moss and sparkling rocks, through tunnels of glowing vines that arched overhead like natural bridges. Birds with wings that glimmered in rainbow hues fluttered around them, singing in soft, harmonious tones. Myra paused to admire one as it landed on a branch nearby. "I've never seen anything like this," she whispered. "It's like the whole forest is alive." Talon smiled. "It is alive. And I think it knows we're here for something special." After hours of walking, the forest began to change. The trees grew taller and more transparent, their trunks glowing faintly from within. Tiny streams of light ran along the ground, forming patterns like stars in the night sky. Myra felt a thrill of anticipation. "We must be getting close," she said. The energy from the fountain grew stronger as they approached a small hill. At the top, they paused to catch their breath. Through the trees ahead, they saw a hidden valley bathed in golden light. In the center, multiple fountains pulsed with energy, each one unique in color and movement. The water seemed to float above the basins, forming delicate shapes that sparkled like diamonds. Myra gasped. "It's beautiful. I didn't think there could be more than one." Talon's eyes widened with wonder. "And each one seems to have its own personality. Look at how the blue one dances compared to the green one. It's like they're alive and talking to each other." They stepped into the valley cautiously, careful not to disturb the delicate plants and glowing flowers that surrounded the fountains. The air felt warm and full of energy, buzzing softly like a living melody. Myra knelt beside a fountain that glowed soft pink. She held out her hand, and the water responded instantly, forming intricate, swirling patterns that mirrored her movements. Talon picked up a small crystal and dipped it into another fountain. The water reacted, creating a ribbon of light that stretched into the air, twisting and turning in perfect harmony. "It's amazing," he said. "It reacts to thoughts as well as feelings. The fountain is learning from us." Myra smiled at him. "It's not just the fountain. We're learning too how to work together, how to understand something completely new." As they explored, Myra noticed small signs that others had been here long ago, ancient markings carved into stones, faint symbols in the soil that seemed to pulse with energy. "These fountains were made by someone," she said, tracing the markings with her fingers. "Someone who understood energy, emotion, and connection." Talon nodded. "And they wanted us to find them. It's like a message waiting for humans to discover." The two spent the rest of the day studying the fountains. They experimented with different emotions: happiness, calmness, excitement, and discovered that each fountain reacted differently. Some danced with light, some created harmonic sounds, and others formed intricate shapes that seemed to tell a story. Every moment was filled with wonder, and the bond between Myra and Talon grew stronger with each shared discovery. As the twin moons rose in the sky, the valley transformed. The fountains glowed brighter than ever, casting shimmering reflections on the surrounding trees and rocks. Myra and Talon stood in the center, holding hands, and watched the spectacle in awe. "It's incredible," Myra said softly. "It feels like the fountains are alive, like they're responding to us, and to each other." "Yes," Talon agreed. "And I think they're showing us something important. That humans, with our emotions, curiosity, and cooperation, can bring this place to life in ways no one else could." Myra looked around, feeling a deep sense of connection not only to the fountains and the forest, but to the planet itself, and to Talon. They had discovered something extraordinary, something that seemed to celebrate the very best of what humans could do. As they sat by one of the fountains, the soft light reflecting in their eyes, Myra realized that their journey had only just begun. The valley held secrets they had yet to uncover, and she felt a thrill of anticipation for what lay ahead. Talon smiled at her, sensing her excitement. "Tomorrow, we explore further. I have a feeling the fountains are guiding us to something even greater." Myra nodded, feeling a warmth in her chest. Together, they had found not just a magical place, but a connection that made every discovery more meaningful. And with that thought, they watched the fountains pulse and shimmer under Aurelia's twin moons, ready for the next step in their adventure. The next morning, Myra and Talon returned to the hidden valley with renewed excitement. The fountains glimmered softly in the early light, as if welcoming them back. Today, they planned to experiment together, to see how their combined emotions affected the glowing waters. Myra knelt beside a fountain that shimmered a gentle purple. "Let's try something," she said, holding Talon's hand. "We'll focus together. Think about something that makes us happy, something we care about deeply. Talon nodded, closing his eyes. Myra did the same, letting her mind fill with memories of the forest, the sparkling fountains, and the feeling of discovery she shared with Talon. Slowly, the water began to respond. Tiny ripples formed, spreading outward, and the purple light grew brighter. Shapes appeared in the water, swirling patterns that looked like intertwined vines and stars. "It's beautiful," Myra whispered. She opened her eyes and saw that Talon was smiling. The fountains seemed to pulse in time with their combined heartbeat, creating new patterns each time they laughed or shifted their thoughts. "This is amazing," Talon said. "It reacts to us together." Myra laughed softly. "It's like it understands our connection. The more we care, the stronger it glows." For hours, they experimented with different emotions. Joy made the fountains sparkle like sunlight on water. Calmness created smooth, harmonious waves. Excitement formed intricate shapes that twisted and turned in the air above the basins. Every time they shared a thought or a feeling, the fountains responded in ways neither of them could have predicted. Myra noticed something remarkable. "Look at the patterns when we work together," she said. The shapes were more complex, more beautiful than when they experimented alone. It was as if the fountains were designed for collaboration, rewarding shared curiosity and understanding. Talon nodded. "It's true. Our emotions, our teamwork, they create something the fountains can't make with just one person." As they continued, Myra and Talon discovered that they could influence multiple fountains at once. They focused on a nearby blue fountain while holding hands, imagining a flowing ribbon of light connecting all the water. Slowly, the ribbon formed, stretching from the blue fountain to the purple one, and then to a green fountain farther away. The lights pulsed together, harmonizing in a way that felt almost like music. "It's like the fountains are communicating," Myra said, her voice filled with wonder. "They respond to us, but they also respond to each other when we guide them." Talon smiled, clearly enjoying the experiment. "It's incredible. Humans can create patterns, but these fountains enhance them, make them more than we could imagine alone." Suddenly, a soft vibration ran through the valley, and the fountains glowed brighter than ever. Myra and Talon exchanged amazed glances. "It's reacting to us even more strongly," Myra said. "It's like it's happy with our cooperation." Talon laughed. "Who knew water could feel happy?" Myra smiled back. "Maybe it's not just water. Maybe it's alive in a way that responds to emotion, to understanding, and to connection." As they experimented, they also discovered the fountain's subtle effects on the environment. Flowers bloomed brighter when they laughed. Small streams of energy flowed from the fountains, nourishing the plants around them. Birds and small animals seemed calmer, even playful, as though the fountain's energy brought harmony to the valley. Myra realized something important. The fountains aren't just beautiful, they're part of the ecosystem. They respond to humans, but they also protect and enhance life around them. Talon nodded thoughtfully. "It's like they were made for people who care, who explore, and who work together." And that's exactly what we're doing. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with soft pinks and oranges, Myra and Talon sat beside the fountains, watching the water pulse and shimmer. "I feel connected to the fountains, to this valley, and to you," Myra said quietly. Talon reached for her hand. "I feel the same. It's not just about discovery anymore. It's about sharing it, understanding it, and protecting it." For a long time, they simply watched the fountains together, feeling the quiet hum of energy in the valley. The connection between them and the fountains had grown deeper than either of them had expected. It was more than curiosity, it was respect, care, and a shared sense of wonder that seemed to enhance the very world around them. Finally, Myra stood and looked at Talon. "Tomorrow, we should explore more fountains. If these ones respond so beautifully, imagine what the others might hold." Talon grinned. "I can't wait. There's a whole world of discovery waiting for us, and I'm glad we're doing it together." As they left the valley to rest for the night, the fountains pulsed softly behind them, a gentle reminder that connection between humans, and between humans and the world, could create something extraordinary. The morning sun rose over Aurelia, casting soft golden light on the hidden valley. Myra and Talon returned to the fountains, eager to continue their experiments. But as they approached, they noticed something unusual. The water in several fountains moved less freely than before, and the glowing patterns seemed uneven, almost struggling. "Something's wrong," Myra said, her voice tense. She knelt beside a fountain, watching as the water pulsed faintly instead of glowing brightly. "It's like the fountains are weak." Talon frowned. "Could it be the weather? Or maybe the energy from the planet is lower today." He touched the water gently, and a small ripple moved across the basin, but it was weaker than before. As they investigated, they heard a distant rumble. The ground beneath the valley trembled slightly, and the soft humming of the fountains shifted into a nervous vibration. Myra stood quickly. "A storm, maybe. But storms are rare here." Talon nodded. "We need to protect the fountains and the valley before it gets worse." Working together, Myra and Talon moved quickly. They gathered rocks and fallen branches to create small barriers around the fountains, redirecting water flow and preventing damage. They used their tools to strengthen the bases of the basins, careful not to disrupt the delicate energy patterns. Every movement required precision, but they were determined to save the fountains. "This is harder than I thought," Myra admitted, wiping sweat from her brow. "The fountains are alive in a way, but they're also fragile." Talon smiled, trying to keep the mood light. "That's why they're amazing. They need care, just like everything else on this planet." As the storm approached, the wind picked up, bending the glowing trees and scattering small debris. Myra and Talon worked side by side, communicating silently with gestures and quick glances. Their teamwork became effortless, each action they took complemented the other. Myra paused to catch her breath and noticed the plants around the fountains wilting slightly from the wind. "If we don't protect the environment too, the fountains might not survive," she said urgently. She gathered fallen leaves and rocks to shield the smaller plants, while Talon focused on the fountains themselves. The storm hit with soft but persistent rains, sending ripples across the fountain's surfaces. Myra held her hands over one of the smaller fountains, concentrating on calm and steady emotions. Slowly, the water responded, glowing softly despite the rain. Talon joined her, placing his hands near hers on another fountain. Together, their focus seemed to strengthen the energy, stabilizing the fountains against the storm. "It's working!" Myra exclaimed. "Our emotions, they help the fountains survive." Talon grinned. "Humans really are amazing. Our curiosity, our care, it actually makes a difference." Hours passed, and the storm gradually lost strength. The fountains pulsed brightly once more, their colors returning to full intensity. The plants perked up, and the valley seemed to sigh in relief. Myra and Talon stood together, drenched but smiling. "That was incredible," Myra said. "We saved the fountains and the valley." I never realized how much humans could influence this world, not just discover it, but protect it too. Talon nodded. It's the best part of exploration. It's not just seeing new things, it's understanding them, caring for them, and making them part of our story. Myra looked around at the fountains, now glowing vibrantly under the clearing sky. I feel connected. Not just to the fountains, but to Aurelia itself. And to you. Talon's expression softened. And I feel the same. Together, we can face anything this world throws at us. As the storm clouds drifted away, Myra and Talon took a moment to rest by the fountains. They watched the water shimmer and dance, realizing that their shared emotions and teamwork had made the fountains stronger than before. This experience, it taught me something important, Myra said quietly. The fountains respond to more than just curiosity or joy. They respond to care, responsibility, and connection. Talon smiled, placing a hand gently on hers. And that's exactly what makes humans special. We explore, we create, and we protect. That's our strength, and it's what makes places like this come alive. As night fell, the fountains glowed softly under the twin moons. Myra and Talon sat side by side, reflecting on the challenge they had overcome. They knew that more discoveries awaited, but they also understood that exploration was not just about finding wonders, it was about respecting them, nurturing them, and sharing the experience with someone who cared. With the valley peaceful once more, Myra and Talon made a silent promise to continue their journey together, ready to face whatever mysteries and adventures Aurelia had in store. The morning air in the hidden valley was crisp and full of light. Myra and Talon returned to the fountains, eager to continue their exploration. Today, a feeling of anticipation pulsed through the valley, stronger than ever. The fountains seemed almost alive, their glowing water reacting to their presence with delicate ripples and soft music-like tones. I have a feeling we're going to discover something important today, Myra said, her eyes scanning the shimmering waters. Talon nodded, carrying a small scanner and notebook. I think the fountains are trying to tell us something. Something more than just their beauty. They approached the largest fountain in the center of the valley. Its water swirled gracefully, glowing in layers of blue and gold. Myra knelt beside it, tracing her hand above the surface. A sudden pulse of light shot through the water, forming shapes that resembled ancient symbols. She gasped. Talon, look, she said. These symbols, they're patterns. They're like a language. Talon crouched beside her, examining the water. They're not random. It's like the fountains are, communicating with us. Maybe they were made to teach something. Myra's mind raced. Could it be from the people who built this place? Someone must have created these fountains a long time ago. But why? As they focused, the fountain responded to their emotions and thoughts, the symbols moving and rearranging into more complex forms. Slowly, Myra and Talon realized the shapes were not just decorations, they were instructions, a message about how the fountains worked and their purpose. The fountains amplify emotions, Talon said, pointing to one sequence of symbols. They take curiosity, cooperation, and care, and they turn it into energy that benefits the valley. Myra nodded. It's amazing. They weren't just for humans to admire, they were designed to encourage humans to work together and share positive feelings. They continued to study the symbols, following the sequences like a guide. Each fountain in the valley had its own message, its own instructions. Some symbols showed how to interact with the fountains using focus and joy. Others illustrated the importance of protecting the plants and animals around them. Every pattern emphasized connection between humans, the fountains, and the natural world of Aurelia. It's like they knew humans would come one day, Myra whispered. And that humans have the power to enhance this world through care and collaboration. Talon smiled. That's incredible. Humans are the ones who bring these fountains to life. Our feelings, our choices, that's what makes them work at their best. Myra reached out and touched Talon's hand. We've seen it already. When we focus together, the fountains respond stronger than when we're alone. Our connection, our cooperation, it matters. The fountain pulsed brighter as if agreeing. Water ribbons stretched toward other fountains, linking them together. Myra and Talon watched in awe as the patterns formed a network of light, flowing across the valley. Every fountain responded to the energy of the others, creating harmony in movement, color, and sound. It's beautiful, Myra said, her voice filled with wonder. The fountains aren't just objects. They're a system, a way for humans to show their best qualities and share them with the world. Talon's eyes sparkled. And that's why exploration matters. Discovering new things is important, but understanding them, respecting them, and using them wisely, that's what makes humans truly remarkable. Myra smiled, feeling a deep sense of pride and purpose. She had always loved exploring, but now she understood that discovery was not just about curiosity, it was about empathy, creativity, and the connections humans make along the way. They spent the rest of the day following the patterns, experimenting with the fountains according to the instructions. Each time they focused their emotions together, the fountains responded with breathtaking displays of color, light, and gentle melodies. The valley itself seemed to rejoice, plants leaning toward the fountains, flowers opening wider, and small animals approaching curiously. By evening, Myra and Talon sat beside the central fountain, watching the water shimmer under the twin moons. I feel like we've learned something incredible today, Myra said softly. The fountains are more than a discovery, they're a lesson. A lesson about humans, and how we can shape the world around us with care, connection, and creativity. Talon nodded, his hand still holding hers. We've discovered their purpose, yes. But the real magic is what humans can do with it. Our emotions, our cooperation, it's powerful. Myra leaned back against a glowing rock, feeling calm and inspired. She realized that Aurelia had given them more than a magical place, it had given them a deeper understanding of themselves and of humanity. The fountains were a gift, a reminder that humans' passion, empathy, and curiosity could bring life, harmony, and wonder to the universe. As they watched the fountains pulse softly under the night sky, Myra and Talon knew that tomorrow would bring more adventures, more discoveries, and more opportunities to explore both the world and themselves. But tonight, they simply sat together, feeling the quiet, powerful connection that had grown between them and between humans and Aurelia itself. The morning sun bathed the hidden valley in warm golden light. Myra and Talon stood side by side, gazing at the fountains. Their discovery had changed everything, not just for them, but potentially for the entire colony on Aurelia. Today, they planned to share their findings. We need to show them how special this place is, Myra said, her voice filled with excitement. And how much humans can create when we work together. Talon nodded. Yes. But we also need to make sure everyone understands how to respect it. The fountains are powerful, but fragile. They made their way back to the colony, careful to keep the path secret, so the valley could remain protected. As they walked, Myra explained everything they had learned: the fountain's energy, their connection to human emotions, and the patterns that guided interaction. Talon added details about how cooperation strengthened the fountains and how the valley itself thrived when humans cared for it. When they reached the colony, the other settlers gathered around, curious about what Myra and Talon had discovered. Myra took a deep breath and began to explain. "We found a hidden valley with fountains that respond to humans," she said. "They react to our feelings: joy, curiosity, cooperation, even calmness. And when we focus together, the fountains grow stronger and more beautiful." The settlers listened, their eyes wide with wonder. Talon stepped forward. "These fountains are not just objects. They are part of Aurelia itself. They show us that humans have a special power, the power to shape the world around us through care, emotion, and teamwork." One of the elders asked, "How do we interact with them safely?" Myra smiled. "With respect. With patience. And with connection to each other. The fountains respond best when we work together, when we think of the world around us, and when we feel deeply." Over the next few days, Myra and Talon led groups of settlers into the hidden valley, teaching them how to interact with the fountains. They demonstrated how joy and focus could create new patterns in the water, and how caring for the surrounding plants and animals strengthened the fountain's energy. Slowly, the colony began to understand the lessons the fountains had been designed to teach. People laughed, shared stories, and experimented with the fountains together. Colors danced, patterns twisted and turned, and melodies filled the air. The valley became a place of learning, creativity, and collaboration. The settlers marveled at how humans' emotions could bring beauty and harmony to Aurelia. One evening, Myra and Talon returned to the central fountain alone. The valley was quiet, bathed in the glow of Aurelia's twin moons. Myra knelt beside the water, watching the ribbons of light flow gracefully. "It's incredible," she whispered. "All of this came from human connection." Talon sat beside her. "It's more than discovery. It's a reminder that humans can make a difference wherever we go. Our curiosity, care, and creativity are powerful tools. The fountains show us that." Myra looked at Talon, feeling a deep warmth. "And it's not just about the fountains. It's about how we approach the world, how we treat it, and how we treat each other. That's the real gift." Talon smiled and took her hand. "We've learned something important. And now, the whole colony can experience it too. This is our legacy." The fountains pulsed softly, as if acknowledging their words. Light ribbons stretched across the valley, connecting every basin in a perfect harmony. Myra and Talon sat quietly, letting the beauty of the moment fill them. They felt a profound sense of accomplishment, not from conquering the unknown, but from understanding it, protecting it, and sharing it with others. As they watched the fountains, Myra realized that Aurelia had given them more than a magical place. It had given them a lesson about humanity, that the best qualities of humans, curiosity, empathy, cooperation, and creativity, could shape the universe in ways far greater than technology or strength alone. Talon squeezed her hand gently. "The fountains will always remind us of what humans can do when we care. And when we work together." Myra nodded, smiling. "And that's exactly the story I want to be remembered. Not just about discovery, but about connection, passion, and responsibility." The twin moons rose higher, casting soft silver light over the fountains. The valley glowed gently, alive with energy and harmony. Myra and Talon sat together, watching the water shimmer and dance. They knew that their adventure was only the beginning, that Aurelia held more secrets to discover, but they also understood that the greatest discoveries were not just about new places, but about the strength and beauty within humans themselves. As the night grew quiet, the fountains pulsed softly, a gentle rhythm that echoed through the valley. Myra and Talon held hands, feeling the connection between themselves, the fountains, and the planet. They had discovered more than a magical place, they had discovered the power of human passion, cooperation, and care. And in that moment, they knew that the legacy of the fountains would live on, inspiring generations to explore, to connect, and to shape the world with their hearts.